Hello again. In this video we're going to talk about style sheets and master pages. Let's start by talking about style sheets. If you're familiar with just web development in general, you've probably heard the term CSS or cascading style sheets. And a cascading style sheet is just an easy way to define the look and feel of the various elements that appear on one or more web pages within a website. So for example, you might create a style sheet that has the definition for what all paragraph tags should look like. So whenever you have text that appears within a paragraph tag, it would take on those attributes. So you might set the font, the size of the font, the color of the font, the background, and so on. And then every time the paragraph tag is used, those visual attributes would be applied to the text that are between the begin and end paragraph tags. You can also create custom classes and apply those classes to the various elements that are on your application or your web page. For example, you might have a paragraph of text and apply a class called My New Class. And in My New Class, you might set the font to Arial. You might set the size to something large like a 3 or 4. You might set the color to black and set the bold property and so on. And so whenever you add this class of My New Class to a given element, whether it's contained within a div tag, paragraph tag, or whatever the case might be, it will take on those visual elements. So if we ever needed to change the look and the feel of the entire website, all the pages that use this cascading style sheet file to define the look and the feel and the layout of the various visual elements, all you would need to do is change the definition of those tags or classes within the style sheet, and immediately every page and every textual element or control element that's represented on those web pages would immediately take on the new look and feel based on the definitions that you created in the style sheet. So it's a very easy way of updating everything in the entire aesthetic quality of your web pages and website from one centralized file. Hopefully you would not be surprised that Visual Web Developer 2005 Express Edition not only supports cascading style sheets, but gives you a easy to use visual interface to create style sheets and manage them within your applications. Now please note that portions of this video were originally recorded using the Visual Basic programming language options. However, due to the nature of the topic matter, this shouldn't really interfere in any way with your understanding of the material. In other words, although you see references to Visual Basic at times throughout this video, there's nothing specific to Visual Basic or C#, so please don't be alarmed. For this particular lesson, the functionality that I'm going to demonstrate is exactly the same for both C# and Visual Basic. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into this by creating a new website. We're going to call this Lesson 06 and click the OK button. And now what I want to do, since I'm here in the source view, is type something like the style sheet test, and we'll go put a BR tag here. And I'm going to put a paragraph tag, and between the paragraph tags I'm going to type something to the effect that, let's see, here I'll apply a style sheet class. Okay, so let's do this now. Let's save that, and we'll come back to this page in just a moment. Now let's do this. Let's go ahead and click the Add Item and select Style Sheet from the Add New Item dialog box. And under the name, we're going to leave stylesheet.css just the way that it is. And note that we can add multiple style sheets to our application if we need to. We're just going to add one for now. I'm going to click the Add button, and notice that it's now visible within our Solution Explorer. It opens it up automatically, and we have this handy-dandy CSS outline tool where we're able to navigate easily through our CSS elements, classes, and so on. And then on the right-hand side, we actually are looking at the source for the .css file. So if I wanted to add some items here, and if I knew the CSS syntax, and you can see I get the benefit of IntelliSense here, and I wanted to type in like the background color myself, I could do just that, like so, and then choose from a color, like say, for example, we want to choose, actually, let's go background color, and we want to pick black. Okay. Now that is one way to go about it, and certainly with the help of IntelliSense, it makes it very easy. But there's a more visual way to build this style through this little icon, build style. We have to make sure our icon is in the definition area between the curly braces for the given element. So I'm going to click build style. And you can see that we've already set the background color equal to black, so that's reflected here in this little preview area. Let's go ahead and change the font family and make that to Arial. So I'm going to select Arial. Now we can select multiple fonts here, and say for example if we had a very custom look that we were going after, and if the people who are viewing our webpage had Georgia or had, for example, Lucinda console, we may want to use those first, but if they don't have those, we can default back to a more common font like Arial. But for right now, let's pick Arial and click OK. And let's also change the color of the font itself to white so that it stands out. Okay, our preview area shows us what the body will now look like for all web pages that utilize the stylesheet.css file that we're defining right now. Let's go ahead and click the OK button. Notice that all those changes we made were translated into CSS syntax. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Now, how do I apply that style sheet to my default.aspx? Well, there is a property of our document called CSS file, I believe, or style sheet. Here we go. I'm going to click the little ellipsis next to the style sheet property for our document, and it will show us all of the CSS files that are available within our application. I'm going to select style sheet.css, which is the only one we have available, and then click the OK button. And notice now that that CSS style has been applied to our page. Very cool. Now, in addition to setting the styles for individual tags like the body tag or the paragraph tag, we can also create what are called classes, which can be applied to any type of tag, not just paragraphs or div tags, or can be applied just specifically to a couple of paragraphs, not all the paragraph tags, for example, within our application. So here's what we'll do. We're going to go ahead and select this little button over here, Add Style Rule. And that will pop open the Add Style Rule dialog box. I'm going to click Class Name and call this My New Class. And that's all I'm going to do right now. I'm going to click OK, and notice that it gives me .my new class. So we've got a new class here that we're going to be building. Put my mouse cursor inside the curly braces, click the Build Style, and we can see in this dialog just a few moments ago. And here I'm going to change the font family to Courier New. Select OK. And the color I'm going to change to blue. And click OK. So I'm going to now look at my default.aspx. Why hasn't that style been applied to our cascading style sheet? Why isn't the text blue and have the font of a Courier New instead of Arial? Well, the reason is because we have not applied that class to anything on our web page. So in order to do that, I'm going to select either here or through my properties window the tag or the text that I want to apply that that class to, and then I'm going to find the class property. Here we go. I'm going to type in my new class and hit the Enter key on my keyboard. And now notice that the font changed, and when I deselect the highlight, I get the blue font color as well. So really the purpose of style sheets is to help us control the colors and the aesthetic look and the feel and the behaviors of all the elements on our web pages. And we can do this at a very global level. So now if in the future we want to change the way that this text look in all texts that share this same class, my new class,